Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn the second lesson from English Kumar Bharati, Standard 9. The lesson is a synopsis: The Swiss Family Robinson. My dear students, first and foremost, I would like to ask you, have you all gone on a trip to some place and there you found that your vehicle is not working or something like that, and then you are caught up in some place? Or you have gone to the jungle and you came to know that you have lost your place and the vehicle is gone, you are left alone and you are in the jungle and you have to survive in that area. Or you are sailing on the boat and your boat is broken, and then you have to swim, and then you come to an island and then you stay in an island for many years, and after many years that your people come to in search of you, and then you are found. But till that time on the island, you are surviving yourself for a longer time, eating things, preparing, staying there. Have you done that? Is it things happened? I'm sure that these things might have not happened to you because we have not moved out of this place, of this area. But today, what we are going to learn is a synopsis: The Swiss Family Robinson. And this Family Robinson is a nice novel. And in that novel, it is an outline is given over here that how these people, as they were traveling by boat, the boat got what you call destroyed or it broke, and then how they went to the island to stay, and then they started staying on that island. They started building house for them and they settled down there. And then after that, after some years, they also, some of them, moved from that area. So let us go through this lesson. A synopsis: The Swiss Family Robinson. The Swiss Family Robinson is a well known adventure novel that people of many countries have enjoyed for more than 200 years. It has also been made into graphic novels and films. The novel, written by the Swiss clergyman Johann David Wyss, is not just an adventure. It aims at teaching young people values like self reliance, determination, love for your family, cooperation, and prudent use of resources. This is what we learn through this lesson. It also has good lessons relevant in natural sciences, good husbandry, and even mathematics. As they were staying there, these all things came into being in the working hour that we shall see. Some elements of the novel do stretch reality to a certain extent. Means it is reality also, but to a certain extent it is fiction. But we must consider that it is a work of fiction and not a fact file. Given below is a synopsis and outline of its basic story. William, Elizabeth, and their children had been traveling in a ship when the ship was caught in a great storm. The other passengers evacuated without them. William and his family, including the young children, Fritz, Ernest, Jack, and Franz, were left to survive alone. They weathered the great storm, waiting in the ship hold. The ship survived the night, and the family found themselves within sight of a tropical desert island. The next morning, they decided to get to the island they could see beyond the reef. With much effort, they constructed a vessel out of tubs. After they filled the tubs with food and ammunition and all other articles of value they could safely carry, they rowed toward the island. Two dogs from the ship named Turk and Juno swam beside them. The ship cargo of livestock, guns and powder, carpentry tools, books, a disassembled pinnace, and provision had also survived. This all thing had survived during the shipwreck, in the storm. And these people, how they made boat of that ship things, and they traveled to this island, nearby island, so that they will can survive. Over the next few days, William father, that is, attached the floatable old kegs to one another and built a bow that curved around them. the family had landed successfully on the island. Now you see how the father takes up the charge. He builds up the boat, okay, floatable old cakes, and built up a boat so that they could reach to the island. The family had landed successfully on the island. They set up a tent and softened the floor with armloads of grass. They cut and spread to serve as their beds. They came to a grove of trees. One tree grew what looked like guards on its trunk. Okay, now you see what they did. As they reached over there, they started to make a tent. As they prepared the tent for down to sleep, they prepared, put the grass, lot of grass, so it is soft and they could stay properly. Okay, so that is what is given. Then the father told Fritz the guards would make excellent bowls and spoons, and they cut them into various utensils. So when they came to the tree, saw the grow of a tree, and they took the guards over there. And after that guards, they prepared the spoons and all for them, and the bowls for them to eat. Okay. After some days, Elizabeth informed William that she wanted the family to move to a safer place. Their current camp was not only exposed but also very dry and hot. If they built a house up in one of the large trees, they would be safe from jackals. She described a perfect tree for the project, one whose trunk was nearly 40 feet in diameter. The branches were very long and extended straight out from the trunk, making them perfect platforms for a structure. Later, when determining the height of the lowest branches, the father taught the boys geometry and how to use triangles to measure big objects. He measured a defined distance from the trunk. Then he calculated angles using several measured rods, determining that the branch lowest branch was 30 feet of the ground. Okay, now what they did was the ladies said that this is not the proper place for us to sleep, because since they are in the island and it is a jungle, many animals could come. So they told, what, we'll prepare a nice place for us to see. So they saw the big tree and they started to build on the tree. But to build is not simple. To build a house is not simple. If you ask even the mason to build the house, he has to study the land. He has to see the how much height is there, how much he has to dig down, how much, what is the angle, where, which is the distance and all, no. So that distance they also, so the father taught them the geometry, triangles and all, no, how to measure big objects and all. The men knotted a rope at certain intervals and attached pieces of bamboo in each knot. Thus they created the ladder. Father returned to the beach and collected driftwood, thinking it would be perfect to build a sledge on runners rather than wheels. Later, they used it to transport materials. Now, what they did was, with the bamboos and the rope, they started preparing knots and putting the bamboos in between, so it became a ladder for them to climb. And father had gone to the beach and found some driftwood, so that now in the island they have no tires. Okay, so if tires are put, then the vehicle moves. But here what they use the, what do you call it, driftwood, so that they could make a sledge. And making a sledge, they can run without the wheels. So for transportation they started using. Meanwhile, Elizabeth announced that the garden she had been tending was producing healthy plants. Corn was there. Corn, melons, pumpkins, and cucumbers were already growing. Now, what she grew was corn, melons, pumpkins, and cucumbers were already growing. The next day, only the father and Fritz traveled to the woods, exploring and finding such exotic plants as one with very waxy fruit, from which candles could be made. Fritz discovered a tree exuding a rubbery sap, from which his father claimed that they could make boots. So see, so much things they found in the nature, and with the nature they could prepare so many things. Thinking ahead of the next winter, father decided to create a place safe from the elements, a strong storage spot to protect themselves and their belongings. Fritz came up with the idea of a cave. Not finding one, they thought of carving out their own cave in the rock, okay, aborting their camping site. On the smooth face of the rock, Father marked the dimensions for an opening, and they picked away at the hard surface with their axes, chisels, hammers, and shovels. Over the next several days, the family cut windows in the rocks to allow for cross currents of air and for sunlight to enter the cave. Now they started making a cave for them to stay in, because there it was not so proper, because winter was coming and it would be cold for them, so they required some place where they could get some little bit of hot. So they started making cave in the rock, and even the dimensions were cut by his father. When they had finished, they had four rooms complete with a fireplace. They now had a new winter home. Because of the low light, the cave house they had built felt oppressive, okay, because it was of low light, no, in the cave where there will be light, okay. To remedy this, father and Jack rigged up a new light. They found a bamboo pole that would reach from the floor to the ceiling. Then, after securing it, Jack climbed to the top of the pole and hung a large oil lamp and they had rescued from the ship, okay. Now what they did, they will prepare a big pole, and on the pole they put the lamp so that light could be there. One day they found that one of the family's huts had been completely destroyed, and the cultivated fields around it had been trampled and ruined. There were huge footmarks everywhere. Now huge footmarks means it will be elephant. Father saw massive damage to trees as well as many huge footprints which he identified as belonging to an elephant herd. Yes, and now plants and all are grown in the field and in the jungle. So these elephants might have come, elephants might have come to eat things, and they ate the things and they went. Okay. The next morning, the family began to design a new defense to discourage all wild animals from entering their cultivated lands. They also finalized their ideas about the new residence. Rather than building a house on stilts which the elephants could knock down easily, they could use four strong trees growing in a square near one another as the foundation. The trees were of equal size, approximately 12 feet apart, thus, they built another safe home. Now, they saw that these animals were coming and destroying all their crops and all, and even the houses. So, they thought of preparing another house. What they did, they started searching trees of equal size. So they found out four trees, and on that four trees, between the four trees, up they built the house for them to stay. Because after winter, it will be very hot. So staying in the caves also is going to be very terrific. So they prepared a house for them, safe house for them. 10 years passed, and the young boys were now young men, and their parents were very proud. They called the island New Switzerland. Many adventures occurred over the years. Okay, on the shore of another island, Fritz had knocked down an albatross, albatross which was threatening to attack him, and found a rag tied to the large bird's leg. On the rag was a message that an English woman had been stranded on the smoking rock. Fritz had no idea how old the message was. His father suggested that smoking rock sounded like a reference to a volcano. Since there were no volcanoes in the vicinity, the bird might have come from hundreds of miles away. However, Fritz felt that someone needed his help, and he was determined to do his best to find the sender. Before returning home, he had written his own note on the rag, retied it to the albatross leg. Albatross leg is a bird. Albatross is a large, long-winged seabird. Okay, and watched the bird fly off. The note told whoever received it, "Do not despair. Help is near." Fritz then successfully rescued the young woman, Jenny Montrose. Though shy at first, soon she got used a living with the Robinson family. Now see, there is a turn twist in this place. Okay, here when the when this family is staying in the island already in difficulty, there is another person called Jenny Montrose, who was also in one of the island, one of the place that is called Smoking Rock, where there might be volcano coming out. In that place where she was stuck, so she had written a letter. See how to save herself, no? On one of the bird, okay, large, long, winged seabird, tied that and wrote the letter and tied to that feet. And this bird came and Fritz got it. So Fritz saw and then said, "I want to help her." Because father said, "Oh, we do not know where this island is or where this rock is because it's not nearby in the vicinity." But Fritz was very determined to save her. And then he said that help is there to instill confidence in that woman. Now, where and when he will come is not known, but still to instill confidence in that okay, I have received your letter and help is in here. And anyhow, is this one. And then Jenny Montrose came and stayed with Robinson family. One day they saw a ship which had laid anchor. An encampment had been set up on one of the smaller islands. After checking the people through their spyglass, Fritz and his father decided to announce themselves after they had returned home and cleaned it up. They did not want the crew to think they were savages. The next day, Fritz and his father met the captain and told him their own history as well as Jenny's. To everyone's surprise, it had been Jenny's father who had inspired the captain such. He believed his daughter was still alive after 3 years. The captain had attempt decided to attempt to find her. Now understood? Now this is another turn. Fritz and Robinson family is staying. Jenny Montrose was there on another island, and Jenny Montrose is brought here. And by the time Jenny's father told the captain that let me search my own daughter, from 3 years she was not there. Okay, so now it happens that this Fritz and his father, who goes to the ship which was anchored over there to ask help, it turned out to be the father of Jenny herself. And then he told them the story. With a burst of celebration, the family, passengers, and crew of the British vessel headed towards New Switzerland. Everyone was amazed by the prosperity and good health of the survivors. As the day ended, the father realized that decisions must be made about who wanted to stay on the island or return with the ship. Elizabeth and her husband did not wish to live anywhere but on the island. They had now, Elizabeth and her husband, who had prepared and played the place, a nice place over there in the island, did not want to go. Okay, they wanted to stay back. But others, they said out that you can go by the ship to New Switzerland. Okay, been there for so long and had grown and used to their life. Jenny asked if anyone would support her return to England. Fritz was the first to respond. He offered cheers for us who were going to Europe. Ernest, on the other hand, wanted to stay on the island. Jack also decided to stay back. Franz, the youngest boy, decided to join Fritz in living. Franz wanted a chance to receive an academic education. Before Fritz left, he told his parents of his love for Jenny and his wish to marry her. The father had kept a record of all the adventures they had had on the island. He handed over the journals to the captains to be published. Then the ship departed. So you see how the stay was there on the island, how the Swiss family enjoyed over there, how they prepared the things, how they and realized to prepare for their safety to survive. And students, today we are in the such a place, such a world where we are facing pandemic. So we are also finding various means to survive ourselves. As Robinson, as Fritz helped Jenny Montrose, give her some confidence. So today, even our doctors, nurses, policemen, and military people and volunteers are there who are 24 by 7 working in order to give us life and help. And then you see that someone comes in search. Who comes in search? Jenny's father comes in search of Jenny with hope. So we also have hope in the vaccine, which is soon going to come. And then these people move for education towards the New Switzerland. So in the same way, once all these things go clear down, this virus is moved washed away, coronavirus, again we will be coming to our schools back. So it will be a new coming to our house. Some may remain back, that our parents will remain back, but you will be coming to school once again. So I hope you enjoyed this class of today. Thank you and have a nice day.